John Peters is clearly one of a kind.
He was a scientist in every way.
His laboratory was the bedside.
He was groundbreaking.
I think Peters was ahead of his time, and I think he was a visionary.
He believed in progress, and he believed progress needed pushing.
Amidst all of his medical excellence, he was committed to healthcare.
John Peters was a giant in the development of clinical nephrology. He trained generations of investigators. He developed new techniques to measure electrolyte composition, to understand kidney function.
At Yale University, I think the preeminence of the nephrology program really dates back to John P. Peters.
John Peters was incredibly influential here at Yale, not just at Yale, but nationally, because he's really considered sort of the father of modern nephrology.
Dr. Peters really was a leader in using actual measurements in patients to uncover pathophysiology and to apply the advances in basic physiology to actually see how that could benefit patient care in the real world.
My grandfather had very strong values and felt it was very important to do accurate measurements, and he had a loyal group of people who worked in his laboratory.
He really was instrumental in quantifying measurements of things like urine and blood.
Quantitative Clinical Chemistry was a groundbreaking book. It forced everybody to think in theorems and then test these theorems by doing interesting experiments.
He pioneered the development of techniques that are now used in all medical systems to advance the care of patients.
He had felt strongly that medical care be given to all Americans.
Peters wanted to speed up the evolutionary process of medical progress through medical science and education with federal funding. There was no way to do it faster without getting government help, and this was very controversial.
The proposals that he outlined at the time were considered radical, but in truth, most of them have been adopted.
It's interesting to think about current debate and the components of recent healthcare legislation in light of what Peters promoted and advocated and pushed for back in the 1930s.
My grandfather's life has been an inspiration for all of us who've come after him, I think.
It's this kind of breadth of concern for pathophysiology as a scientific exercise, the health of the individual patient, but if you will, the health of the entire healthcare system that made John Peters unique and established the legacy for the wonderful recipients we've had for the John Peters Award.